Have you ever had a bite of a delicious, crispy, golden brown chicken that leaves a savory taste in your mouth? I'm sure you have. But did you know that this chicken sells at 400 pieces per minute every single day? When you walk into the store, you're greeted by the face of KFC, a bright suited grandpa with a bright smile on his face. But have you ever wondered how it all started? Who is this white suited grandpa? And how did his chicken reach a global audience? Would you like to know? Then you'll want to stick to the end of today's video to find out how Colonel Sanders faced rejection 1,009 times and made his failure a world-famous success recipe by untapping into his potential. Welcome to Untapping Your Potential, where we will share with you motivational stories, motivational figures, comeback stories, and public speaking tips that will keep you growing and inspire you to take action. Harlan Sanders was born on a small farm in Henryville, Indiana in 1890. His father had died when he was only 5 years old. With their breadwinner no longer present, his mother was forced to work and provide for the family, leaving Harlan to stay at home to take care of his younger siblings, a responsibility that led to develop his skill in cooking. I think a dream is just a suggestion to start something out, to do something. The pressure began to take a toll on the young boy. Juggling between working on the farm and his household responsibilities, Harlan was eventually forced to drop out of the 6th grade, never finishing school. Since then, for the next 3 decades, he worked at a variety of different jobs. He got a job at a railroad but lost it after a fight with a coworker. He was a streetcar conductor, a fireman, a male midwife, among other things. He even began practicing law, which didn't go too well, as Harlan's legal career was cut short due to a brawl with his own client in the courtroom. At the age of 19, Harlan got married, had 3 children, but the marriage did not last forever, and were tragically shaken when their 20-year-old son died from an infected tonsil. With no place else to go, Harlan moved back with his mom. Soon after, he got a job with a life insurance company, but he was fired for insubordination. He even started a ferry company and cashed out in shares to start a lamp manufacturing company, both of which failed. He got a job as a tire salesman, but was fired once again. Harlan eventually found himself running a gas station in Corbin, Kentucky, at the age of 40, where he began to cook and sell meals for hungry travelers. It came to me that the one thing I could do was cook, and I figured I couldn't do any worse than the people running these places around town. Then in 1939, Harlan made what was most likely the most significant breakthrough in chicken history. He started frying chicken in a pressure cooker, which drastically reduced cooking time while maintaining quality. What's more, by this point in time, Harlan had perfected his famous blend of 11 herbs and spices. I made a resolve then that I was going to amount to something if I could. No hours, no amount of labor, no amount of money would deter me from giving the best that there was in me. And I have done that ever since. And I win by it, I know. Business was so successful that the place moved across the street to a bigger 142-seat diner, and Harlan was named as the Kentucky Colonel by Governor LaFoon. Soon after, he took out the gas pumps and opened his first very own restaurant with the money he earned from the popularity of his chicken. Harlan also brought his perfect chicken recipe at that location. He even opened his own motel right next to the restaurant. But 4 years later, the motel caught fire and was destroyed along with his restaurant. Despite this incident, and Colonel didn't lose hope. He began to make plans to rebuild and reopen a new restaurant. It happened, and things were doing great. However, when the highway junction in front of his restaurant was relocated, his thriving business began to struggle. Now miles away from the highway, he decided to auction off the site. With no income, he was forced to rely on his savings, auction proceeds, and with what little retirement money he got. I'm against retiring. The thing that keeps a man alive is having something to do. The colonel then thought it was time to try a new business strategy. I was 66 years old. I still had to make a living. I looked at my social security check at $105 and decided to use that to try franchise my chicken recipe. Folks have always liked my chicken. Harlan began traveling throughout the United States, sleeping in his car with pressure cookers and spice bags, visiting potential franchise restaurants, and offering his chicken recipe in exchange for only 4 cents on each chicken sold. It had not been an easy life. It was a slow, expensive, and humiliating way to pursue business partners, especially given that he was living out of his car and even began eating meals begged from friends during that time. Before anyone accepted the Colonel's infamous recipe, it was rejected 1,009 times. But someone eventually did. It took a long time for the restaurant to take off, but it was a huge success. By 1964, Colonel Sanders had franchised over 600 locations and built a multi-million-dollar business. This is the Kentucky Fried Chicken, or KFC, that we have come to know and love. KFC's popularity began to spread throughout the country. KFC expanded to over 60 franchises in just a few years. The company's worth increased to $2 million, which is the equivalent of $15.3 million today. Harlan died of acute leukemia on December 6, 1980, at the age of 90. KFC's fortune soared in the aftermath of Sanders' death. It grew to become one of the leading fast food brands in the United States. You gotta like work. You have gotta like what you're doing. You have gotta be doing something worthwhile so you can like it. Because it is worthwhile, that it makes a difference. Don't you see? Colonel Sanders. Colonel Sanders was 65 when he had managed to establish his famous Kentucky Fried Chicken recipe. What do most people do when they're 65 or more? That's right, they retire. Most people give up, dreaming at this age. However, Colonel Sanders' story demonstrates that the only way to fail is to give up. It is never too early or too late to pursue your dreams, regardless of your age. As a child or as an adult, you can face many difficulties. However, your background and factors such as poverty, unemployment, and even failure do not determine your future. Your past does not dictate how successful you will be in the future. Every morning when you wake up to a brand new day with an opportunity to start anew, to do more and gain more than yesterday. Colonel Sanders, despite his many failures, turned them into opportunities. Before a restaurant accepted his fried chicken recipe, it was rejected 1,009 times. He lived by an important motto. I only had 2 rules. Do all you can and do it the best you can. Because of passion, hard work, and dedication, he spent 9 years perfecting his secret blend of 11 herbs and spices, as well as the basic cooking technique that KFC restaurants still use today. The recipe that was rejected 1,009 times is now proudly serving 145 countries and territories around the world. Colonel Sanders said it best. One has to remember that every failure can be a stepping stone to something better. Thanks for watching this video. How would you like to hear more motivational stories on a consistent basis? Do me a favor and support the channel by sharing, commenting below, and please make sure to like and hit that subscribe button to get the latest updates. Soon you will be on your way to feeling inspired.